In 2009, we met a young boy called Novell. He was born with a bilateral cleft lip, and his palate was also open. He had surgery with us, but sadly one side of his lip split open shortly after surgery. In 2011, Novell came back to have his lip operated on again, and he stayed with us this time for a long time, and his lip looked fine, and we sent him home. Well, I didn't really think there would be any problems because when he left he looked like he had healed. But about a year and a half later, I was passing his village and I popped in to see how he was, and I realised that his lip had split open again, but his family hadn't told me. They were too traumatised, and at the time they didn't really want him to have any more operations. So we just left them, really, but I never forgot. In 2014 we visited Novell again, and he returned for more surgery on his lip. Sadly, the same side of his lip split open again when he was still under our care. Later on in the year he had another operation and it also split again. So we were kind of helpless and we didn't really know what to do. In 2017, I started working with an American organisation called the McGann and Ratner Foundation. I brought Novell along to meet them, and they were also quite shocked by his appearance. Novell was now 9 years old, and over time his jaw had twisted, his second set of teeth had come down, and basically his jaw was very protruded. And it was even more difficult for this time to close his lip. They'd done some research and they found a way to help him, and they gave us an amazing offer to bring him to Taiwan for surgery. As soon as we got the offer for Taiwan, I went back to visit Novell and his family to see if they were interested in making the long trip, which of course was going to be very complicated because we had to arrange passports and visas, and they seemed scared, but his mother was keen, so in the end she agreed. It actually took me a long time, nearly 6 months, to sort all the paperwork out, having complications also because Novell's mother is a single parent. We also had to get his father's consent so a passport could be produced for him, and his father hadn't actually seen Novell since he was a baby. So it was a very long process, but anyway, it was all positive in the end, and we managed to get Novell visas, passports, and in July 2017 we took that long journey to Taiwan. So when we arrived in Taiwan, the hospitality that the local people gave us was amazing. There was a few of us involved now, so there was obviously our charity, there was the McGann Ratner Foundation that had organised it, and then we were introduced to another charity called NCF. They were a local cleft charity based in Taipei in Taiwan, and they actually funded the plane tickets, they funded his visa and our living expenses while we were there, and were really completely responsible for looking after us. The costs for Novell's operation were terribly expensive. We were so grateful as the Changgung Memorial Hospital paid for all of the costs for his operation and his stay in hospital. After we arrived in Taiwan, Novell had to have a lot of tests. I think the operation was scheduled for about 8 days later after we arrived. We met with Dr. Law, who was the surgeon who was going to operate on Novell. Such a lovely guy and an amazing surgeon. The local cleft charity, NCF, were great, and they gave us money to take Novell out and about so he could see the sights of Taiwan. One of them was to the local zoo, and Novell had never seen wild animals. So yeah, we had a lot of fun also when we were in Taiwan. After he had healed, we had time still to see a few of the sights, and he saw some of the local monuments, and so it wasn't all doom and gloom. He still managed to have quite a good time while we were in Taiwan. So I was still very nervous about Novell going home, because he still had metal pins in his jaw because he had had a bone graft, and these metal pins had to be removed, and they couldn't be removed until our Dutch surgeons came over. He really needed to have good nutrition to make sure that the healing process wasn't going to break down. So he stayed in Harapanjaya Rehabilitation Centre for the last few months to make sure everything was fine. He was also getting special schooling there because he hasn't actually been able to read or write, and he's 9. But he's had a brilliant time, so he's been staying there for about the last 12 weeks. Yeah, for me, Novell is a really special child. I've obviously got to know him really well over the years because I've been dealing with him for the last 9 years. But the most amazing thing about Novell is he's never been affected by his disability. Where most kids, when they come of age, will be shy, they'll be hiding their face. Throughout everything that he's been through, he's just remained happy, confident, and just keeps laughing through everything that's happened to him.